Lads.
Saturday, 3 p.m. and a local derby away at Leeds United, who themselves have had a very strong season in their first year back in the big time. Pre-match to this one was, would former Leeds manager Paul Heckingbottom stamp his authority on the Blades? Would we see a change in formation? Would we see Heckingbottom's real first team, the first time he's really had a chance to get in with the players for a couple of weeks? Well, after an encouraging performance at Chelsea, I guess the answer was no. It was an unchanged Sheffield United side. Not very often that we've seen that. Perhaps surprisingly, Ethan Ampadu only sub. It was great to see John Egan back on the bench, but if he's on the bench, is fit enough to play? We shall see. John Lundstram somehow, and I'm sorry, but somehow he's picked again. How does John Lundstram keep getting games for Sheffield United? Anyway, enough about the team. I thought it was wrong, but I'm not going to get at Hecky. He decided that was the team to go with. And you know what, it was encouraging at Chelsea, so why not? So the game kicked off. The Blades had a decent opening minute. And then after that, it was dreadful, awful, terrible. Leeds looked faster to the ball. Lundstram with a silly booking for a nothing challenge. I mean, I cannot. I don't want this to turn into the John Lundstram hate thread, but how does he get a game? How does he get a game for Sheffield United? It is beyond me. Anyway, 12 minutes in, Leeds danced their way through, worked it nicely, squared across the ball, and Jack Harrison, the easiest task in the world of putting Leeds 1-0 up, and it looked like it was going to be a very, very long afternoon. In fact, if it wasn't for Aaron Ramsdale in that first half, the Blades could have found themselves 2, 3, 4-0 down. We were just abject. It was terrible. There was no fight, there was no passion, there was no commitment. But then, injury time, 45 plus 1, and McBurney has a shot across the face of goal. It deflects nicely, and Ben Osborne, fully up with play, slots it home. It's a good 3 yards over the line, and thankfully, hallelujah, the watch. It went off, a goal was given, and against the run of play, we went into half-time. Leeds United 1, Sheffield United 1. Could we have some bragging rights? Second half, come on Blades, give me some bragging rights so I can go to work, or even albeit working from home, a happy man living 5 miles from Ellen Road.
So, after a real positive end to the first half, we came out second half, and I really thought we'd give it a good go at Ellen Road and try and nick a result, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. We came out and we were really slow, really sluggish. We didn't retain possession very well, especially in the first 15 minutes, and Leeds United were the complete opposite. They came out pressing really high, putting a lot of pressure on us, and inevitably that led to them scoring within the first 5 minutes of the second half. It was a ball over the top which Harrison took down well on the left hand side, and he delivered a great cross which Jagielka's tried to clear, and it's just gone in past Ramsdale, which I guess the Leeds United striker was going to tap in anyway, so it's just unfortunate. And I guess that didn't even really wake us up, that second half, because about 5 minutes later Leeds United have gone on another attack. This time it was Stuart Dallas who hit a 20-yard strike, and it's just clipped the top of the crossbar, and yeah, that was it really. There was no reaction from us. We tried to play a bit of football, but we just couldn't keep it. Lundstram was really poor in midfield. Norwood didn't have a great game. I guess Fleck was probably our best midfielder. Yet again, didn't really do much second half. When it came to us having some chances, we had one where Flex drove forward through midfield, played a lovely ball through to Bogle, who'd cut inside Alioski and hit a shot which was goal bound, but unfortunately I think Luke Ayling got his leg there and it went out for a corner. Other than that, I guess Heckingbottom's tried to be positive and try and reclaim some points, but unfortunately we just couldn't do it. He brought on Oliver Berg and Brewster, both of which had some chances. Brewster's hit a 30-yard volley and it just shaved the post. To be honest, I thought that was it. Probably would have been our goal of the season. And Ollie Burke's come on, beat a few players and tried to hit a strike which had just beat Meslier and also their post. But other than that, it was pretty much one-way traffic from Leeds' point of view. They were hitting us on the counter every time we had a corner, and we just couldn't really manage to deal with them, I guess. They were the better team today in the second half. We simply just weren't good enough to get a result.
Okay, today's game, bit of a disappointment again, but it's Leeds, isn't it? It's a Leeds game. It's going to be competitive, and there's always going to be a bit of bite about it. It's disappointing not to go to Elland Road and come away with at least something, and it's furthermore disappointing to come away when an own goal is the difference between the two sides, as ever. Again, it was an afternoon where we were going to struggle to put anything together with a same old 5-3-2 formation. You know, especially with the midfield as weak as it is, and that was evident throughout the whole of the game. You know, it was evident through the fact that we were largely outplayed by a Leeds midfield, which has got, you know, the likes of, you know, the England international like Phillips, Dallas, Roberts. You know, they're all pretty decent players and pretty decent ball players, and we, you know, we're going to struggle to get anything out of a game such as that. In places we did show some promise. I mean, I think it was evident when we brought the likes of Ampadu on, and he showed a little bit of class, and certainly when Brewster, you know, started to come alive in the second half when he came on, we saw a little bit of flash of what could be something of next season's strike force. But even so, marks out of 10 for this particular game. We'll go straight from the top. From Ramsdale, I thought had a very, very good game. I thought he was pretty solid throughout. He pulled off some fantastic saves. A double save on 8 minutes, you know, which was really good. And the 32nd minute save was fantastic as well, where he managed to get across. And indeed, early in the second half, he made a decent save as well. But I mean, he had no chance really with either of the goals, I don't think. I think he was kind of completely misplaced really to get anything on Jagielka's own goal. So 7.5 out of 10, I think, for Ramsdale. Moving across, Baldock. I thought Baldock, you know, is playing out of position. He's in his sort of tucked in right centre back role, and he does his best as Baldock. But you can see he's urging to get up the wing, and at times he did, and tried to do the attacking centre back thing, but it didn't come off, and he was unlucky really, you know, to go off with a concussion injury. But, you know, the normal sort of match from Furious George, isn't it? You know, he kind of gives it his all, even in that tackle where, I'm sorry, Alan Shearer said he deserved a yellow or a red. Okay, it was a committed tackle, but I've seen Shearer do worse and get away with not getting a red. But I'll give him 6 for his performance until he went off. I thought he was pretty good. I think between him and Jagielka, who gets a 6.5 out of 10, Jags a 6.5. 38 years old, cracking on a bit, but he still managed to keep a much younger and much more mobile Patrick Bamford really, really quiet today. And apart from the own goal, I thought his performance was pretty good, and really shows what Premiership class someone like him has. But he's, you know, we're not going to see him next season, are we? Surely, you know, he's going to be, his legs are going to be gone, so he's a bit of a luxury for us at the moment. Stevens on the left side, I thought had a pretty decent game, and he gets a 7 out of 10 for me today. I think he was pretty good, and he's played this position before, and he did show some decent commitment, and he did get up and down that wing. I mean, all right, Brewster's passed late on, had him stretching his lungs to the maximum. But he did manage to keep people quiet down that right hand side, particularly when faced with people like Ayling and the other geezer up that there, Rapinoe, is it? I think he did pretty well today compared with other games that I've seen him playing. Over on the other side, sort of wide right, we had Bogle, who was trogging up and down that wing and doing quite well. I think in the first half he sort of played himself into trouble a little bit in places, but in the second half he came alive, and he was starting to show a little bit of danger in the box. So Bogle gets a 6.5 out of 10 for me. He went off with a bit of a clock in the face in the second half and was replaced by Burke. On the other side, on the opposite side, Osborne, I thought had a pretty decent game. I think he's a star for next season. He's Osborne. I think he puts a lot of commitment in. He's got a good engine on him as well. You know, all right, he's a bit clumsy with the ball at times. You know, he kind of at times he kind of over tries and overplays the game a little bit, but he managed to get his first goal for the Blades, which I'm really, you know, well done, Aussie. You know, you deserve that. You did really well. In the centre of the park, this is where the problems are, and they always are. I mean, on the right-hand side, Lunny, my word, you know, I mean, what does he have to do to recreate some of the magic that we've seen him produce early last season? Today, he was abject. He gets a 3 out of 10 for me today. His passing was really poor. His crossing, his positional sense, he gave the ball away too many times. He picked up a yellow card really early in the game for no particular reason. And it was just evident of the fact that it seems to me like Lunny's kind of playing his last and playing out, you know, he's working his ticket where Sheffield United are concerned, which is a bit of a shame, you know, because there was a period in the past where Lunny was considered to be one of our stars. In the centre, in the pivot role, Norwood, I'm afraid, again, not a very good performance from Oliver Norwood at all. I think his corners, you know, there was 3 corners I saw, one in the first half and 2 in the second half, which were either too long, hit the keeper, hit the far post, hit the near post, but none of them went into the danger area itself. And really, between him, Fleck and Norwood, they were all over the place in the middle of the park, getting, again, easily bypassed. Norwood at times looked like a traffic cone to me. He was really, really struggling with the speed and the pace of the players around him. People like Dallas and Phillips were just running past him all the time. And it just wasn't a good performance. And really, you could see he was pissed off with his performance. He was annoyed with his performance at the end, and he went off under a bit of a cloud, which is not unusual for him to do. Norwood gets a 4 from me out of that performance. Fleck on the other side gets a 5, bordering on 5.5. I think we'll give him a 5.5 because he was involved in quite a lot of work up and down that wing with Osborne and McGoldrick. There's times when Fleck picks the ball up and he runs forward and he runs at players and you think there's something purposeful happening. Then he overplays it, then he loses it, then he's in trouble and he's tracking back. You know, he had his hands full today, as did Osborne with Rapinoe and Ayling, because they are an attacking threat. But again, at times he was in and he was out of the game, you know, and he didn't. The best part about Fleck's game today was his crossing. He put a couple of very decent free kicks into the danger area, but apart from that, it wasn't really good. It wasn't a stellar performance from Fleck. Again, the midfield as a whole were playing far too back towards the back three and defending rather than pushing up the pitch and going past. And I just don't think they've got the ability to do that. Up front, we've had McGoldrick. McGoldrick I'll give a 6 to because he tackled and he tasked really well. He tries to get involved. He tries to make that bridge between what is sometimes a far-lying McBurney. He tries to make that bridge between the midfield and do some fetching and carrying, but sometimes he plays himself into some real tangles. And at other times, he definitely dances past people. McGoldrick gets a 6 from me today. I thought he was moderately good. He has been better. Really, he could have. Today we could have seen him score some goals. The left foot shot in the second half was a particularly low point for him. You know, usually he's burying those in the top corner. Think about the Arsenal one that he put in. McBurney, usually I'm one of McBurney's fiercest critics. I thought McBurney did really well today. For me, he gets a 7 out of 10. I thought in defence he was great. Why we don't play him there, I don't know, because he gets his head to every single ball in the box. And I thought he tasked really well across the pitch. I thought he was trying to get himself involved in a hell of a lot, and he ran himself really ragged at times, trying his very best. Okay, there was some shithousery going in on Alioski and Rapinoe at times, bit of the old niggle, bit of the old pub football. But today was a much improved Oliver McBurney for me. I thought he was a little bit more sharper than he has been of late, and a little bit more involved as well. The substitutes, Burke came on, and for a while it was difficult to see exactly what formation Sheffield United were playing in. I thought at first we were going to a 3-4-1-2, then we seemed to go to a 4-4-2, and then we seemed to go to something or other, because you could see McGoldrick at one stage, who's the team captain, was looking at the bench and saying, where are we meant to be playing? There was no implicit instructions going on between that time when Bogle went off and Burke came on, and when Brewster came on, there was a bit of a confusion there as to where he was going to be playing, who was going to drop into the midfield role, was McGoldrick going to drop into a 10 role. So with all this confusion going on, but eventually Burke found his way onto the right wing, which I think is more of a natural place for him. I did have him down because he didn't seem to be involved a great deal as a 5.5, but I upped that to sort of 6 when he started to get himself involved a little bit more further on in the game, and he certainly caused them a few problems as Leeds started to tire, which is exactly the impact sub that we need Burke to be. Egan came on in between all of this, which was good to see. First thing he came on and he was involved in a tackle. For that, he gets himself a 6 out of 10. Even though he wasn't involved in the whole of the game, but you could see that as soon as Egan came on the pitch, the whole team started to settle a little bit and looked a little bit more composed. That's the steadying hand that John Egan gives to the side. So he gets a 6 out of 10 for me for his effort today in actually steadying the ship a little bit at the back. Brewster as well. Brewster, didn't seem to understand or get involved in the game very much for the first 5-10 minutes when he came on. Then suddenly he unleashed that shot, which was absolutely outstanding. For that, he gets a 6 out of 10. Well done, lad. One day that goal is going to come. He's at times he's a bit clumsy. He doesn't read other people's play. He doesn't lay the ball off quite as people around him are trying to get him to read it. So I think that's a little bit of his youth and a bit of his rawness coming in. But goodness me, one day, Ryan Brewster's going to unleash a shot and he's going to take the back of the net out. I'm pretty confident of that. The only other person I haven't covered, today is Ampadu. Ampadu to me was the man of the match. I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was 7.5, bordering 8 out of 10. I thought he put a hell of a lot of effort in, even though he lost, even though everything went round him at times. I thought he got the ball up the pitch. He got himself into places where he should have been. He put some fantastic tackles in the second half from on Alioski and also on Bamford as well in the second half. I thought he was outstanding. To say the fact that he doesn't really look happy at Sheffield United, and who would at the moment? We're bottom of the division. We're going down into the Championship, and poor fella, he's kind of mired and stuck with us. But I thought today he was very, very good. Heckingbottom today gets a 6, probably 7 out of 10. I thought really the initiative could have been taken after the own goal. We could have gone on the attack a bit more. We could have changed the formation because we did seem to sort of allow them back onto us as soon as they'd scored. They spent a good 10-15 minutes attacking us when really we should have pushed them back up the pitch. But the problem is with the midfield that we've got at the moment, we're just not going to do that. We're not going to impose ourselves in the centre of the park, especially when you're faced with a very highly capable and passing midfield such as Leeds United, which is a bit of a shame. The referee I thought was very well balanced as well. I think he gets a 6.5 out of 10. Thanks very much indeed. Up the Blades, all for the next match, and we're going down, but there you go. Anyway, here's Pompey. Take care. Up the Blades.
Hi Blades, so positives and negatives for today. It's another one of them situations where we're just very disappointed, aren't we, after that game? Even more so after the last performance against Chelsea, because I think a lot of us were thinking, there's still a spark left in that team, but today there was none of that. It was pedestrian and it was very, very boring to watch. There aren't many positives at all. Ramsdale is still the biggest positive we have to take from this season, and currently is our best player, which says a lot after the first half of the season he had. That game could have been 7 or 8 if it wasn't for him. He pulled off some very, very good saves, injured himself in the process of one of them. I think it was saving against Bamford. Did really good there. A lot of people have said his turns of form since the turn of the year has been incredible, but I just think, what if the rest of the team had pushed on like he has and pulled their weight a little bit more? We might have stood a chance of having this season. Alas, that hasn't been the case. Hope we can hang on to him next season because, he's showing he can do it in this league. He shows he has grit. So yeah, we'll see about that. Probably another positive was Brewster had another good cameo. Very, very close chance nearing the end. I think he's going to do very good for us next season. He's going to be very good. We need to be starting him, getting him involved with the team more, learning the teammates, because I can't imagine we're going to get rid of the entire squad in the summer. But no, that was good from him. Yeah, negative wise, it was just what we've come to used to all season. 2 very, very poor goals to concede. First one, Ender Stevens. What has happened to that guy? Honestly, it's been since the end of 2019 when he just has not looked himself at all. Like, loses the ball, given to Rafinha. Baldock, yeah, he was in the box. Yeah, he probably wouldn't have put a foot in. But, just follow his run. Like, block him off a little bit. You don't have to put a foot in. All too easy. Second goal, unfortunate for Jags. He's had the most awful last few weeks. So, yeah, I'm not going to say much about that. But it was just a terrible, terrible performance from start to finish. Lundstrom, probably the pick of the bunch, to be honest. He doesn't even have to pretend he cares, because all of us know he doesn't. And it was just so bad. There was just nothing there, nothing at all. No fight, no desire, nothing at all. It's just really sad, and it's just a case of just getting through these next, 8 games, and just waiting for that R to appear next to our name. So, see what happens, and I'll give it to Steve to see where we go from here.
On the back of a disappointing 2-1 defeat to Leeds at Elland Road, I've got the job of answering where do we go from here. And I do fear that this segment of this video is going to be a bit monotonous in the last few weeks of what's going to be our last stint in the Premier League for at least one season. Because where do we go from here is really now all about next season. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who we play next in the Premier League, and to be honest with you, I don't really care, because now it's just about getting that 3-legged horse limping over the finish line so we can move on to the next race. I think it's pretty clear that, barring a turn of events, Paul Heckingbottom's not going to be our manager next season. Could still be involved, maybe he goes back to the under-23s, who knows, but I don't think he's going to be the manager of the first team. Who knows where Jason Tyndall's fate lies. But again, it's really all about next season. I think we've all got to make peace with the fact that we're going to lose players. So John Egan, Jack O'Connell, Sander Berge, who knows, potentially one of the few strikers. Jesus, if Aaron Ramsdale keeps playing like this, he could be on the block, because he's been a revelation in the last few matches. And so on behalf of probably quite a few Blades fans, Aaron Ramsdale, I apologize for how you were thought of in the beginning of the season, because he's been excellent. And for me, it's really, can we just find a manager, whoever it is, get him announced, get him bedded in, and have a long runway up to the next season, so we can get our recruitment right, we can get whoever we're selling, we can get that sorted, get the money in, and just be ready to go. Because the more things we leave open and hanging, the more uncertainty we're going to have as a fan base and as a club in general, and we need to eliminate that. Lots of talk in the papers about a variety of managerial candidates, the last one being a coach from, I think, the German league, Breslin. I'm not going to make any judgments on who we get. I think you can look at plenty of coaches that have come over from foreign leagues and failed, but then I can give you Daniel Farke, I could give you David Wagner from Huddersfield. So the possibility is there, and I think we just have to be open-minded at this point as to who we get. Give them full support once you can get 30,000 back in Bramall Lane, which fingers crossed will be next season, and figure out what the squad is going to look like to hit the ground running in the Championship. Because as we know, and you've seen it before, if you get relegated and spend a season down there and then spend a second season down there, it's a long, long road back. The parachute payments stop, and you've really got to figure it out all over again. So where do we go from here? Hopefully some answers, hopefully some structure, hopefully some certainty, and hopefully automatic promotion next season in the Championship. Up the Blades!